Welcome to Pentre Wern Farm. The original house was built between 1841 and 1851. The first census I can find the farm on is from 1851, and the farm is run by David Williams. He is 54 and described as a farmer of 440 acres, employing 3 labourers. His wife is named Jane and she is 49. They have 5 children. David, age 19, Richard, age 14, Mary, age 12, Anne, age 10, and Thomas, age 7. They have 6 farm servants. David Hughes, age 33, Edward Thomas, age 21, Andrew Richards, age 17, Thomas Charles Wells, age 21, Sarah Howell, age 22, and 18-year-old Anne Roberts. In 1861, David Williams is still the head of the farm. He is now 64 and his wife Jane is 58. They have 2 children at home, 20-year-old Anne and 17-year-old Thomas. There are 4 servants employed. They are 25-year-old Ellen Lewis, who is a dairymaid, Sarah Jones, who is 16 and a kitchen maid, and 20-year-old John Gittins and 18-year-old Job Owen, who are both carters. In 1862, the farm is up for auction, as this newspaper article dated the 3rd of September shows. To be sold by auction by Mr. Hilditch at the Winstay Arms on Tuesday the 16th day of September 1862 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, subject to conditions then to be produced. That recently erected genteel dwelling called Pentre Wern House, with stables, coach house, laundry and other necessary outbuildings, greenhouse, garden, lawn and several pieces of prime grassland adjoining the above, containing 48 acres or thereabouts. Pentre Wern House is situated in a delightfully picturesque neighbourhood. The climate is most salubrious. The principal part of the house has been erected within the last 5 years by the present proprietor regardless of expense, and whose only reason for selling is the necessity of personal attention to an important business in the West Indies. It is situated in the centre of Sir W. W. Wynn's hunting country and within easy reach of the Shropshire foxhounds and the Thanet Side harriers, and is altogether the most desirable property to a gentleman in want of a country residence, combining a delightful situation, a healthy climate and supporting accompaniments, which has been offered for sale for some years. This article is interesting as it tells us that the house was enlarged about 1857. I'm not sure if it was David or the actual owner of the farm that had to go to the West Indies, but David died on the 5th of September 1868, aged 71. The farm did sell, and in 1871 we have new residents in the farm. The head is Samuel Williams. I believe Samuel to be David Williams's eldest son. From what I can gather, Samuel and his family were farming elsewhere, possibly on a smaller farm, and he has taken on the tenancy of this farm. Samuel is age 46 and he has a wife named Harriet and she is 56 years of age. They have a daughter living with them. She is named Elizabeth and she is 21. There are also 4 domestic servants living with them. Sarah Lewis, age 22, Thomas Brown, age 23, Thomas Jones, age 17, and Edward Wild, who is also age 17. Moving on to 1881, and Samuel Williams is still farming at Pentre Wern. He is now aged 56 and his wife Harriet is down as 60 years old. There was obviously a discrepancy with her age, as 10 years ago she was listed as 56 years old. They have no children with them, but have 5 listed servants. They are John Lindop, aged 23, and he is a waggoner, Thomas Perkins, aged 20, and William Francis, aged 25, and they are agricultural servants, 23-year-old Elizabeth James, who is a dairymaid, and 18-year-old Mary James, who is a general servant. By 1883 there is a new family at the farm, the Manfords, and they are mentioned in this newspaper article dated the 13th of June 1883. The Contagious Diseases Animals Act 1878. The Executive Committee of the County of Salop do hereby determine and declare that swine fever exists at the following places, namely in the pigsties and yard at Pentry Wern, in the occupation of Mr. John Manford, and that in consequence thereof the rules under the above Act relating to swine fever will take effect in respect of the above mentioned premises. The Committee do hereby determine and declare that the rules under the above Act relating to swine fever shall from the date hereof cease to operate in relation to the premises hereinafter mentioned, namely the shed situated in the fold yard at Apley near Wellington, Salop, in the occupation of Sir Thomas Merrick, by order of the Executive Committee, Clerk of the Peace for the County of Salop, Shire Hall, Shrewsbury, 9th of June 1883. Again, another interesting piece of information. We can see from this article that the farm was actually owned by Sir Thomas Merrick. Sir Thomas was created a baronet in 1880. He became a Member of Parliament for Pembroke in 1868, and one of his homes was Apley Castle in Shropshire. We can also see that John Manford is now running the farm. John married Samuel Williams's daughter Elizabeth on the 8th of April 1875. But John Manford wasn't to be at the farm for long, as this article from the 15th of October 1890 shows us. Pentry Wern. The late Mr. John Manford. The news of the death of Mr. John Manford of Pentry Wern Farm, which took place on Wednesday after a few days' illness, will be received with regret by his large circle of friends. Mr. Manford, who was in his 41st year, was beloved and respected by all who knew him. He leaves a widow and 5 children to mourn their loss. The interment took place at the Hengoed on Friday. The funeral cortege left Pentry Wern at 2:30, and the service was read by the Reverend George Bartle. On the 1891 census, John's widow Elizabeth Manford is head, and she is 41 and described as a farmer. She has children with her. Samuel Christian is aged 11, Thomas Henry aged 9, Edith M aged 7, William E aged 5, and Sarah H aged 2. There is also another Thomas H Manford aged 5 living with them, and he is a nephew. They have 7 servants living with them. Sarah Morris aged 24, who is a dairymaid, Mary Ann Jones aged 16, and she is a kitchen maid, Ellen James, also 16, and she is a nurse, Edward Edwards, aged 22, and he is a waggoner, Alfred L. Barclay, aged 18, and he is an under-waggoner, George Drayton, aged 25, and he is a cowman, and 30-year-old Edward Morris, who is a general labourer. Sadly, in 1900, tragedy struck the farm again. Wrexham Advertiser, 29th of December 1900. A boy drowned at Gabowen. On Wednesday it was discovered that a boy named Robert Simon, aged 14 and residing at Castle Buildings, Gabowen, was drowned. It appears that the boy was working at Pentry Wern Farm, chaff cutting with a man named George Drayton, and in the course of the afternoon deceased was sent by Drayton to shut the floodgates. As he did not return in a reasonable time, Drayton went in search of him and found the poor lad in the pool, quite dead. On Thursday afternoon, Dr. Aylmer Lewis held an inquest at the Heart and Trumpet Hotel on the body of the boy Simon. Mr. T. F. Cotgrave was foreman of the jury. Robert Roberts, stepfather to the deceased, identified the body. George Drayton proved that he sent the deceased to shut the floodgates on Pentry Wern Farm on the previous afternoon, and to subsequently finding the body in the pool and taking it out. The deceased boy had been in the habit of shutting the floodgates for the past 6 weeks. Mrs. Manford of Pentry Wern proved that she tried in every way to restore animation and induce respiration, but without avail. There seems no doubt but the poor boy, in shutting the floodgates, overbalanced himself and fell into the pool. Verdict: accidental death. On the 1901 census, Elizabeth is still farming at Pentry Wern. She is now age 51. Her son Christian, Samuel Christian on the previous census, is age 21 and he is an ironmonger's assistant. Thomas is age 19 and he is listed as farmer's son. Mary E is 17, William E is 15 and Sarah H is age 13. Elizabeth's father, Samuel, is living with them. He is age 77 and a widower. There are 4 servants with them. Annie J. Roberts, age 28, who is a domestic servant. George Drayton, the poor man who found the drowned boy's body. He is 36 and a cattleman. John Drayton, age 14, who is a general domestic. And Harry Jones, age 35, who is a waggoner. Could it be possible that 14-year-old John Drayton is George's son? The next newspaper article is from the Wellington Journal and dated the 5th of September 1903. The late Mr. Samuel Williams. The death took place on Sunday of Mr. Samuel Williams of Pentry Wern. Mr. Williams was born at the Forest Lawn in April 1824 and subsequently his father David Williams moved to Pentry Wern. On his marriage, Mr. Samuel Williams went to live at Middleton and on the death of his father he returned to Pentry Wern. His wife died some years ago and he is survived by 2 daughters. Mr. Williams was a well-known agriculturist and his services were frequently sought as an umpire under the Agricultural Holdings Act. Mr. Williams, who was the owner of considerable property, was for many years a director of the Oswestry Incorporation, of which he was at one time vice chairman, and a member of the old Oswestry Highway Board. The funeral took place at the Oswestry Cemetery on Wednesday. Samuel was 79 when he died. His wife Harriet died in 1888 at the age of 68. 10 years later, in 1911, Elizabeth Manford is still running the farm. She is now 62 years old. She has 2 of her children living with her. Thomas Henry is now aged 29 and he is working on the farm, and Sarah Harriet, aged 22, and she does dairy work on the farm. They have 6 servants. George Drayton is still with them. He is now 46 and a cowman. Mary Roberts, aged 18, and she is a domestic servant. Kate Griffiths, aged 16, and she is also a domestic servant. 20-year-old John R. Dempster, who is a waggoner. 34-year-old William Morris, who is a farm labourer. 14-year-old Richard Hughes, who is a pig feeder. And finally, there is a nephew named Richard H.S. Manford, who is 17, and he is listed as a lodger living in the hen roost. Moving on to 1921, and Thomas Henry Manford is running the farm. He is aged 39 and he has a wife named Lucy Blanche Manford, and she is 38. They have 2 children, Thomas Henry Jr., who is aged 4, and Frank Jackson, aged 8 months. Thomas's mother Elizabeth is living with them. She is aged 72 and listed as retired. They have 5 servants. Margaret Lucy Gordon, aged 21, who is a housemaid. Hilda Glossop, aged 18, and she is a dairymaid. 20-year-old Edith May Roberts, who is a nursemaid. 18-year-old Wallace Richard Dutton, and he is a cowman. And Old Faithful George Drayton, who is 56 and a workman. I did find that George Drayton died in 1930, aged 67. I think the family must have thought a lot of George, as he worked for them for at least 30 years. And finally, we have the farm on the 1939 register. Thomas Henry Manford is now aged 57 and he is listed as a dairy farmer and does air raid precautions. His wife Lucy Blanche is 57 and she does domestic duties. Their son Thomas Henry is aged 23 and he is a cowman. They have 2 servants, Kathleen M. Davis, aged 19, and she is a housemaid, and 18-year-old John Ferber, who is a labourer. I believe that the Manford family lived at the farm until at least the 1970s. Thomas Henry Manford Sr. died on the 1st of July 1952, aged 70, and his son Thomas Henry Jr. died aged 81 on the 1st of March 1998. I cannot find any record of other residents at the farm until 2003. Farming there is a Hugh Ellis, and an article dated the 9th of August 2003 describes a business he has set up. Top stores stocking flavoured milk drink. A farmer has taken flavoured milk to a new customer and is already reaping the rewards. Hugh Ellis of Pentree Wern is behind Core, an organic flavoured milk which has already found its way onto the shelves of such prestigious stores as Harvey Nichols and Selfridges, and now it is being sold through 2 local suppliers to shops in Mid and North Wales and the Borders. Available in banana, chocolate and strawberry, Core is made from organic milk. Mr. Ellis said Classic Organic Limited was formed to produce a range of innovative organic dairy products. I can't find any information as to how long this company lasted, but fast forwarding to August 2020 and an article in the local paper casts a dark shadow on the farm. Shropshire farmer fined after cows found at sites unable to stand. Cattle at farm sites near Oswestry were discovered in such a poor state they were unable to stand, magistrates at a court heard. Shropshire Council successfully prosecuted farmer Hugh Lloyd Ellis of Pentree Wern following an investigation by its animal health team where carcasses were also found on a visit to the holdings. At Telford Magistrates Court, Mr. Ellis was sentenced to 100 hours of community service and ordered to pay a victim surcharge of £85, as well as the full prosecution costs to the council. He had pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing to offences under the Animal Welfare Act 2006 and the Animal Byproducts Enforcement Regulations 2011 regarding cattle at 3 farm sites operated by him. District Judge Kevin Grigo told the defendant had it not been for the mitigation from his defence and the improvement in running the holdings since, he may have imposed a custodial sentence. He added the offences were very serious and consideration had also been given to disqualifying him from keeping cattle in the future. The court heard that in April last year, officers from Shropshire Council and the Animal and Plant Health Agency visited Mr. Ellis's 3 farm sites and found a pile of cattle carcasses as well as cows unable to stand. Mr. Ellis had failed to seek appropriate veterinary care for these animals, thereby causing them to suffer unnecessarily, an offence under the Animal Welfare Act of 2006. Judge Grigo also noted that despite the demonstration Mr. Ellis was implementing better practices at the farm holdings, there was still need for improvement. Mr. Ellis was reminded that if he were to commit further offences in the future, he would likely face imprisonment and the loss of his livelihood. Karen Collier, Shropshire Council's Regulatory Services Operations Manager, said this was a very difficult and distressing situation for animal health officers from the Council's Regulatory Services team to deal with. Our officers carry out regular checks to ensure animal welfare legislation is adhered to. Anyone found to be in breach of the legislation to protect animals will be investigated and appropriate action taken. I don't know if this was the end for the farm, and I don't know when Mr. Ellis left the farm, but it is currently owned by Diana Hilton Jones of One Montague Place Limited. This company bought the farm in October 2009, so they owned it when Hugh Ellis was farming there. As of March 2025, the house, outbuildings and surrounding land are up for sale in separate lots, totalling £2.35 million. There is also planning permission to build 6 new residential properties where the farm outbuildings are. Wow, so there's a lovely old fireplace there. This big room with the nice wooden floorboards. So you can already see that there's a cellar. Don't know if I'm going to go down, but lovely features already. It's really dark in here. Every window is boarded up apart from the one that I came through. Let's go through. Good grief, look at these big rooms. Right, well, this was the kitchen. Ooh, shit. Big kitchen. Looks like people have been in and trashed the rooms. Oh, there's a back bit here. Probably was the pantry. There's a staircase going up there by the looks of it. Got a back room here. Oh my goodness. It's like a maze, this place. It's huge. This looks like it was some kind of, it was originally maybe a cold store. There's rooms going back off there. Wow. So yeah, back in the kitchen. Back to this bit here. It's got to remember where I've been. It's like doors going off everywhere. Oh my god. So there would have been a big massive fireplace there. This place is huge. There's the old servants' bells up there, look. This place is massive. Can't believe how big this place is. Storeroom. Wow. This place is so big. I'm going to get lost because I'm going to forget where I've been. Right, so this is where the front door was. Oh my god, the staircase has been trashed. There's another big room through there. This reminds me of the Warren bungalow out at Prees Heath. Except for that was a bungalow. But the different rooms going off everywhere. I mean, look at this room. Got the big fireplace there. And what's that? Like a big bay window, but it's like real dark oak. It's all been carved into. I mean, look at that. Absolutely amazing. And then you've got what I'd say is probably a, I don't know, it could be an Art Deco fireplace, 1930s maybe. And then the dark oak floorboards, you can see where a carpet's been. Right, I think I've been round every room downstairs. That is the basement, I'm not going down there. Looks like stuff has just been chucked down there. So it's time to head upstairs. This place is just massive. We'll see how safe it is upstairs. Alright, I've just come up those stairs. I can already see that there's stairs going to an attic. But upstairs is just as big. Let's go to this room over here. It's massive. Oh, this is a little room, a girl's nice room by the looks of it. Yeah. There's a big room here with a fireplace in. Wow. Just got mine, there are some holes in the floor. Ooh. But there's a fireplace there. You can see that there's been a big carpet on the floor. But they're big rooms. Another big room with a fireplace. A nice fireplace there. I thought that was a dead bat then. Oh, look at this creepy landing. That looks creepy down there. With the attic stairs at the end. Got some more rooms off. More fireplaces. Wow. With the lovely floorboards as well. Remnants of the old wallpaper there. That looks like where the boiler was. There's all Christmas cards on the floor, look. See if we can get any names to research. I just looked at those Christmas cards and it looks like the old chap that lived here was called Hugh. That's a nice Welsh name. Oh, it's one of my favourite pictures, that is. I love that. That's a nice one too. Nice Christmas card. Yeah, so Hugh. Right. Back towards the attic, aren't we? There's another big room here. No fireplace in this one. No. Not seen a bathroom yet. Some more rooms here. There's a bathroom, so that was a shower. It's an old-fashioned looking shower, isn't it? The old heater on the wall there. Some remnants of some funky wallpaper there. Right, out to the bathroom. I'm presuming bathroom and toilet. Yeah, exactly what it says on the tin. Got a cupboard under the cupboard under the stairs. Just this big room. Another big fireplace. Another big room. See the old wallpaper there. Someone's had the radiators off, haven't they? Lovely big house. Right, so it's just up to the attic. We'll see what there is to see up there. It was a bit snug getting up them stairs, but yeah, we're right up the top. It's so warm up here. Got one of the old doors. I'm not going to move about too much because See down there, there's another bit through there. Someone's shored up the roof. Stop the water getting in. There's a bit through there. But yeah. Let's go and have a look around the farm buildings. It's a massive place. A massive place. It's kind of like where to start, isn't it? These look like the old milking parlours. Yeah. Wow, look at this in here. This is the milking parlour, I presume. That's where the farmer would go down there. Wow, all the machinery's just left here. So the cows would come in here, have their feed and what have you, and then they'd have the suction things attached to their udders. Wow. Right, let's carry on through. See what all the other buildings are. It's a big place. Here's all the cattle barns, just empty. Got the old garages here. There's the old slurry tank over there. More old barns, and don't know if there's any stables. Probably where they slaughtered the pigs. Another big barn in here. Wow. Again, it's like inside the house. It's like remembering where I've been. So many different outbuildings. Also, this one just a little. Oh. Looks like an old trough there, and a hay, a straw thingy, and a cattle feeder. Big buildings. Bet there's bats and barn owls. Hopefully. And this looks like the horses' block. Look at that old archway. And then we've got a horses' stable here. Bentle. See where the horses chewed, look. Oh my god. What the hell is in there? There's his name, not Bentel. Go and have a look in this bit. So this is the horses' stables. What's that? Is that a corn chute? Another one there. Wow. There's another big old bit here, look. Oh my goodness. Wow. There's the water feeder there, the water sink kind of thing. Another, perhaps cow parlour down there. There's a big old door here. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. This place is massive. Obviously any history I found on the farm will all been at the beginning. But it's a lovely big place. Such a shame it's just sat empty, isn't it? What the hell's that? That's like a wheel? Oh my goodness, is this an old... It's an old corn mill, isn't it? Gotta be. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It's the old workings of a mill, gotta be. Good grief, how old is that? Isn't that amazing? So do we think this is the newer version? Is it for grinding corn? For separating it for the cattle feed? Let me know. But what an amazing building. I don't know if I risk going upstairs. We'll have a look what these stairs are like. I'm not going to go all the way to the top because there is bird poo everywhere, but I will show you what it's like up here. So you've got rooms going off. This big corrugated bit where I presume the corn might have been stored or the straw was stored. No, I think it's probably corn. And then it's fed down those tubes. But yeah, what an interesting farm. You can see right up to the rafters. And then these stairs are pretty sturdy actually, but I'm not going to walk through where bird poo. Right, so let's have a look in this other parlour. Maybe calving area? Does seem like it's a dairy farm, so this is probably where the cows and newborn calves are kept, I think. Yeah, I think so. What a fantastic place.